Hello YouTube, Professor Cadre here. Welcome to Pipes 241, Meerschaum Coloring. One of the most fascinating aspects of owning a Meerschaum pipe is watching it change over time. Unlike Briar, which changes very little with age, with the exception of some kind of unfinished Briar pipes, Meerschaum gradually develops a rich patina through years of use. For many pipe smokers, this transformation is part of the enjoyment of owning a Meerschaum. As Meerschaum pipe is smoked, it absorbs moisture, oils, and tars produced during smoking. And over time, these compounds migrate through the porous material, gradually changing the pipe from bright white to shades of yellow, gold, amber, orange, brown. Every pipe colors differently, making each one unique. You could see mine has a kind of pinkish bit of a hue to it. Yours is
Relatively new.
more
It's more white,
white and becoming
eggshell.
yellow with some of that pink,
You got some yellow here, and then this is getting more a little charred, but also colored.
kind of pinkish a little bit up
Yep.
there. Yeah. And you have other more extreme examples. Very dark brown.
It's interesting to me how like the bottom part of the bowl is much darker than the top part of the bowl.
That tends to be the progression. Yeah. One of the things that I like about the coloring bowl is I think that it helps it color more evenly,
Right.
rather than concentrating it down at the heel like that.
Yeah, I wonder if that has to do with like the heat and where those juices, those tars are. And
Yeah, it's because the tobacco is living in the bowl there
yeah,
when it's on fire. Several factors influence how a meerschaum colors, including frequency of smoking. That's probably the most important. The tobaccos you smoke will influence it a little bit. You know, goopier aromatics are going to color a little bit more quickly
right,
than
makes sense.
very dry English.
Yeah, even in Virginia might have some more than a dry English,
Yeah. How the pipe is handled might affect it. The shape and thickness of the pipe, uh, just the natural qualities of the particular block of meerschaum that it was made from as well. Some pipes color quickly, others may take decades to fully mature. There's no correct rate of coloring. There's myths that surround meerschaum coloring. For example, smoking a certain tobacco will not guarantee a particular color.
Gotcha.
That's got nothing to do with it. Darker pipe is not necessarily a better smoking pipe, just a more smoked pipe.
Right.
Faster coloring is not always better, might be more enjoyable if that's what you're going for, but if it's taken a long time to color, that's just how long it's taken your meerschaum to color. Goal is not to force the process, but allow it to happen naturally through regular enjoyment of the pipe.
I know you had made a video, right? I don't know if you were planning on talking about this and this, where you did a test with
Mm-hmm.
with the Meerschaum. And I thought if you guys check that out, that was pretty good. He like what explain that a little bit, unless you were planning to already.
Yeah, I had a couple air pumps just run through some very small meerschaum pipes, many bowls, and eventually it got too gunky. But I was experimenting between different ways of coloring the meerschaum, whether it be with a coloring bowl, without a coloring bowl, and in the case of without a coloring bowl, the two methods of letting it develop a carbon cake or not developing a carbon cake. They all colored about the same by the time I had to end the experiment. I didn't
Yeah,
find
I
anything
would think it's
particularly
mostly a
quick.
function of how much
Frequency.
tobacco
Yep.
goes through it.
And because they were smaller pipes, it was a smaller amount of tobacco being burned per bowl.
Right.
So like the bowl count wasn't as accurate as it would be for a pipe of these size.
Yeah, I also wonder how much like the time of being, it sitting there at temperature, rather than rushing it through and continuous, like smoking it as quick as possible. I wonder if it's like the volume of tobacco, but as much as like the time that's being smoked might be a factor as well. You know what I mean? Like,
right, that prolonged exposure.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, the air pump was smoking it way quicker. It was several minutes per bowl. Like versus, I mean, these were small bowls, so these were probably in the like 7 to 15 minute a bowl range, but this was finishing them in 2-3 minutes. But you should check out the video if you find that interesting. Um, as far as the Meerschaum coloring, as Meerschaum pipes grew in popularity during the 19th century, smokers looked for ways to encourage even coloring. One solution was the coloring bowl that you can see I'm using here. The protective outer bowl, that, not outer bowl, but separate from the pipe,
Right.
uh, that goes into the bowl with a cork, uh, and you fill that bowl with the tobacco. The additional
Empty space
empty
there.
space down
Yeah.
here acts as a cooling chamber, and potentially enables that smoke to more evenly and gradually go throughout the
Yeah, that's what
material.
I'm really interested in trying. Like, I love the idea of having a coloring bowl. I should pick one up because, like, first of all, you don't char up the rim. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's really cool. And then just having that calabash effect. I think everybody wants a cooler smoke if they can get it.
Yeah, yeah, and you don't have to have a Meerschaum pipe to use a coloring bowl, and your coloring bowl doesn't have to be made out of Meerschaum. If you were to find
That's
one made
true.
out of briar,
Or whatever.
that would. For me, I like it made out of Meerschaum because I want all the qualities of the Meerschaum.
Right. You want to feel like, yeah, it
Yeah.
makes sense.
If your goal is to develop a beautiful patina, smoke the pipe regularly, handle it carefully. Avoid trying to artificially speed up the process. I've heard things like putting it in a jar with smoke and sealing the jar, and just leaving it in there to kind of absorb that smoke, things like that. Just be patient. Well colored Meerschaum is the result of years of enjoyment, not weeks. And every Meerschaum tells the story of its owner, right?
It
Like
is cool to have something over the long haul and just know that it's going to change, and like a nice leather wallet that gets all worked in
worn
after about
and
one
yeah,
in.
yeah. The color of a Meerschaum reflects countless bowls, quiet moments, and years of use. Rather than chasing a particular shade, just enjoy watching your pipe develop its own unique character over time. Until next time, thanks for watching.